Hello and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. I'm really shattering it up this week, Matt. I'm trying a different inflection. That's what you got to do 200 plus episodes in to keep it fresh and keep it interesting.
210 episodes in.
Yeah, is it really Oh yeah, I guess I gave you the wrong one there when I said 209. Oops. Oh well. I'm glad you're on the fucking ball, Matt. One of us has to be. So how's your week been?
Pretty good. Pretty slow.
That's good. Yeah, mine's fine. You know, coming off Canadian Thanksgiving and everything, that was pretty nice. I made a soup this week. That was pretty good.
What kind of soup?
Turkey, of course, with all the leftover goodies. You know, boiled the bones for broth. That was pretty nice. That was a good distraction as time continues to tick on and on.
We're almost through October already. I look at the date and it's the 19th.
Can you fucking believe that time is moving relatively fast, but also incredibly slow at the same time?
It's so strange. It's so strange to have like a whole year just taking
gone. Just take it for real, man.
Just taking a break.
You know, I feel really bad for the kids who are looking forward to Halloween. It's like, are they going to be able to trick or treat this year? Probably fucking not.
No. Oh, I imagine some places might be able to, but yeah, a lot of places won't be able to.
That is, man, imagine having to break that to your kid. You can't fucking trick or treat, Junior, because the big Rona might get you. That's the real horror. Big Rona. You know what I would do if I had any sort of official power? I would repurpose a bunch of those T-shirt guns, and I would turn them into candy shooting guns.
Shoot candy at children.
Yeah, exactly. Again, you make it like a real life Space Invaders. Like they got to stand outside the parking lot or like on the street or whatever, and you got to aim the big candy gun at the children and to try and get the candy and everything. That way you social distance, and obviously you got your mask and your gloves when you pack the candy in. But yeah, that's how we'll save Halloween 2020 by shooting kids with candy guns. Again, for those who want to, sign on to my candy gun initiative. Well, shit, I guess it's too late now for R&D. Fuck, I should have started this several months ago.
I'll just buy a T-shirt gun and just load it with candy.
There you go.
But it's got to be shit candy as well. All the candy everyone hates.
Oh, like those bad caramels that are in the orange wax paper.
Yep.
God, I hate those. You know what you got to do? We got to have what is it? Maybe some sort of makeshift catapult, or because not everyone's going to be able to afford the catapult. Candy slingshots, just candy corns and slingshots at the children. Locks with socks, but they're filled with Tootsie Rolls.
That would actually probably hurt.
Yeah, probably. Oh, geez, Billy, where'd you get that black eye Tootsie Roll sock? Yeah, that's a fuck of a thing. But I'm hoping everyone else out there in the comic multiverse universe is doing all right in these times, and hopefully, I'm assuming we have young fans too. Hopefully, your trick or treating didn't get too busted up this year.
Hopefully, yeah. I've seen some people carving their pumpkins and getting ready and whatnot. So maybe there are places that are allowing it. Maybe it's only certain neighborhoods and suburbs and stuff.
New Zealand, probably. New Zealand. They Halloween just for New Zealand this year.
I don't know whether they celebrate Halloween. They might be like us where we don't trick-or-treat or anything, don't really celebrate true. Halloween.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about the cultural differences there. Well, geez, now I have to get the adorable image out of my mind of big Maori dudes with scary prison tattoos. Trick or treat, please. With their adorable sing-song voices, despite the fact that they all look like savage killers. Hey, man. Again, they all sound like Taika Waititi.
Yes.
That's literally the joke for Korg in Thor Ragnarok, where he's like, well, hey, how did you know to give the big rock guy such a light, friendly voice? And he's like, oh, it was me just talking about all the Maori bouncers.
Yeah, he's just a Maori bouncer.
Yeah, it's all he is. Man. That's some good shit there. So, yeah, believe it or not, we actually do have a fair amount of comic book news this week, everyone, and I get the feeling that'll probably pick out a good portion of the show. So should we get to it, Matt?
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it then. So the first story we have this week, I sent it to Matt, but I don't have it right in front of me because that is how my mind has deteriorated in the last little bit. But okay, a piece of news that I was not expecting, but something that made people very, very happy this week, and for obvious reason. Michael B. Jordan apparently is going to be producing the upcoming Static Shock movie, the one that we had heard at the Milestone conference back during Fandom.
Yeah. As I said, this is going to be the one to add to the growing list of DC films that they've announced and have yet to even do anything with.
You know, normally I would totally be there right with you, but Michael B. Jordan's kind of at that point in his Hollywood career that, like, if he's attached, it might actually fucking happen now is the thing, because the dude has proved to be a box office draw, and this is part of a bigger effort of, like, a new production company he's put together that he says is, you know, all about trying to empower and shine the spotlight on Black heroes in kind of like their own universe, which I'm like, well, own universe, so does that mean this Static thing will not be part of the DC universe? Because again, if so, that means it might actually get done if it's free of all that other shit.
That's true. Yeah, well, I imagine they'll probably just do like the Milestone universe, and it'll be like a sub universe of DC. It'll still be a DC film, but it'll be just Milestone.
Now, what is it? Reginald Hudlin is still attached to it. He's going to be writing it, but Jordan and his production company will be producing it. So, no, I didn't get rid of Hudlin that easy. He's got his hooks into this project, and he ain't leaving.
It'll be cool if they do end up doing this, and we get like that universe that Michael ends up playing Icon.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Because remember there was rumors of him playing like the Black Superman. That could have been what they were talking about.
That would be really awesome. Because, yeah, it's like when you hear Michael B. Jordan in Static, your mind instantly goes to, oh, well, he can play him, right? Then it's like, oh, yeah, I guess he is a little too old for the part. Shit, like 5 years ago, absolutely. But, like, now he's just kind of hit that point. Now, it's lucky that Hollywood is, you know, filled with really great young Black actors who I'm sure could make a great Static. But, yeah, man, him as Icon, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Who would we want to cast as our young Static there? Because, you know, it has to be cool, but he also has to kind of have that nerdy side to him too, because Virgil Hawkins is a total dweebenheimer. How's that kid from Stranger Things growing up?
Yeah.
He old
I
enough
imagine
yet?
he's probably pretty old. He's probably around the right age. I'm gonna have a look.
You would think so. Again, you want to cast young. You want to cast Peter Parker young, so you can hopefully make a bunch of these movies.
He's 19, so he's right in that.
And somewhere I'm sure Jaden Smith is holding up his hand, being like, me. Jaden, you had your chance. Sit down. But I got my own white Batman suit. It's a different thing, Jaden. Sit down. But yeah, I'm sure like 5 years ago, they totally would have cast him. People saying, too, that there's actually some really good, really convincing Static Shock fan films out there, too.
Oh, really?
I mean, every superhero has their own fan film. I'll have to check out the Static ones. That sounds pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, so this is all around good news. It's fun to see Milestone come back in such a big way. We're going to be getting those comics soon. And we're going to be getting this. Actually, it's interesting. In the interview write-up they did, Michael B. Jordan is like, yeah, it's a great idea. My new production company. Reginald Hudlin is writing it. And he's writing a new digital DC series where I'm like, wait, did Michael B. Jordan just say that Milestone is just going to be digital now?
Either that or he got confused.
And
just
everything.
yeah, and just thought, oh, he's writing something for... I mean, saying that, I wouldn't put it past them, because was that Milestone Zero, that Milestone Return Zero, was that digital only, or did that get a printed version?
It ended up being a free digital version for everybody. I wonder if they were going to free comic book day it up or something. But yeah, now I have my own questions. I'm like, wait, you're bringing Milestone back, but it's not going to be in stores. Now, admittedly, digital is the wave of the future. Not everything needs to be in stores. If it is digital, there's a good chance it could actually get in front of more people. But still, at the same time, I want to be able to go to a store, goddamn, hopefully, in the next little bit, when it's safe and be able to say, hey, I got the new Static #1, I got the new hardware, the new whatever in a store. Isn't this cool? I'm feeling like I did way back when I got it.
Yeah. But as you said, digital is kind of the way of the future. And I mean, if it's anything like those DC Digital First books that are still being put out,
yes, they are.
Like, I could see it being very big because they were insanely popular.
They were, I know. Yeah, apparently that was one of the big reasons why, DC is completely changing their approach now and why they're going to be moving more to digital in the future. And again, it's a good thing they are. I just, wish it didn't take the end of the fucking world to make them do it. So that's something. But yeah, hey, get hyped, everyone, for this Static thing, because it might actually happen for real now.
Hopefully, and yeah, as I said, hopefully it leads to like Icon and Hardware and all those characters coming back.
Oh, it's so ripe for an interconnective universe, because it always was an interconnective universe. In fact, hey, that's your post-credit scene right there. What is it? Icon and Rocket are watching TV and they see Static on. It's like, we should put a team together. That would be cool. All right, what else do we got going on here? Hey, so kind of connected to this whole new DC thing, young black heroes and everything. John Ridley, a guy who obviously we've been talking about a lot because he's going to be writing Batman. Well, it was announced this week. Come January, he's also going to be crossing the aisle to Marvel, and he's got a Wolverine story he's going to be working on as part of a bigger Wolverine anthology, Black, White, and Blood. Is Blood.
Nice. I wonder if this is similar to what Jeff Loeb did with like Captain America, where it's like the white and the blue and whatnot, and
Captain America white, Spider-Man, blue,
Daredevil, I think was one, wasn't it?
Daredevil yellow, and like Hulk gray, I think was the other one. Yeah, the color trilogy, the color series. Zeke asking a very funny question. Will Hot Claws return? Yeah. What about Hot Claws?
What the hell happened with that? I was thinking that the other day when I was reading the Wolverine books. I'm like, where did that go?
Didn't go anywhere. It's like he's back. He's got the Hot Claws. It's the new big thing. And then Hickman came in, and apparently a lot of what writers were working on just kind of got thrown away.
Maybe we'll find like another Wolverine has that or something.
There you go. One of the backups.
Maybe Jason Aaron will do something in that coming Phoenix Rising storyline.
Potentially. Well, apparently, if you want to know what Hot Claws are, you got to ask fucking Charles Soule. Let's get Charles Soule drunk and ask him. All the more reason I don't think we'll ever know where Hot Claws is, because Charles Soule isn't writing superhero comics anymore. He's all in on Star Wars now.
Yeah. He's headlining all their new stuff.
Yeah, what an interesting career path for that man, from being a lawyer to being a comic book writer in the realm of superheroes to being a writer almost solely of Star Wars now.
Living the dream.
Tell me about it. Living the fucking dream. But yeah, that'll forever be one of the great well, I say great, but that's debatable, unfinished stories. Where did the Hot Claws go?
Well, that's the thing, and it was linked to like him coming back from the dead and everything.
Yeah. Look, hey, maybe we gotta ask John Ripley right now. Hey, will the Hot Claws be answered in your story? Are you the one? Are you the Hot Claw man? For the love of God, don't do that. The man's like a freaking Oscar winner and everything. Don't do that.
Oh, he'd probably go, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, what the fuck are Hot Claws? Get out of here, kids. Get off my lawn. You damn kids with your hot pants and your hot claws. Friggin' Hot Claws. But yeah, that's interesting that a dude who basically just started writing comics gets to write both Wolverine and Batman in more or less the same year. And I know I kind of took some shots at him earlier on, but not really so much for him, but just from that idea that you can come in from another industry and be given the toppest characters in comics. But you know what? I read his Batwing story, and it was really good. Pretty fucking good. So shut me the fuck up. Never let it be said that Joel doesn't give people a chance. Yeah, he shut me right up, and don't worry, we'll be talking more about him and about his Batman project later on. But hey, we got some movie/TV adjacent news here, and it's actually a retraction of a story from before. But Tatiana Maslany, who we had all believed was cast as She-Hulk for the upcoming Disney Plus series and everything. Turns out she's not. Turns out she came out months after the fact and said that was just a rumor. To where I'm like, Jesus Christ, you were slow on the draw here, lady.
Well, she says that, but then like we've got Mark Ruffalo, we've got the series writers and directors and all of that, people who would know, say, like congratulating her that she got the role. So is this just her being like coy and being just like really slow on the draw?
Maybe was she like off social media for a bit and didn't see? Is this like everyone buying into the press and everything? Also, hey, thank you, Bob72, appreciated that.
Thank you.
Or is this like some sort of holdout thing where it's like, oh well, it hasn't been confirmed yet because I want more money?
Yeah, it is very strange. It's very strange.
Because like, or is this like one of those things too where it's like, did she actually do a very smart thing and do like, okay, they put me in the news with it. No, I'm not cast, but I'm going to let them think they are for the next couple of weeks because this is really good fucking press.
It kind of feels like that, who have they cast, quote unquote, as Kate Bishop? It was that...
Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, where she said she kind of did sort of the same thing where people were saying that she was cast, but then she wasn't because she was holding out for more money or read a deal or something. And now that is also sort of like up in the air about is she Kate Bishop or is she not?
Yeah, and I mean, that's like that show had its own problems too with like, is Renner going to be ready to go? Will people forget about the Renner scandal and everything? But yeah, this is weird because yeah, you're right. In that situation, the rumor turned out to be 100% true. And here she's saying, no, it's not true. It's just a rumor. It's very weird.
Yeah, as you said, come out like weeks after it was announced.
Yeah, it's
wouldn't you do it on the same day or the day after?
Yeah, or is this one of those situations where it's like, okay, you're rumored, all the news sites are running with it, you're letting it do it, and then like your people talk to Disney, it's like, okay, I'll do it, and they're like, but we had someone else in mind though. Which would be really fucking hurtful. And also too, it kind of matches a theme that had developed here. You know, they got that guy from Kim's Convenience, Simu Liu, to be Shang-Chi, Canadian. And then they got that girl from Markham, an hour from where I am, to be Miss Marvel. It makes sense that they would cast another Canadian actress. She breaks the trend. I really hope she is, because I was really enjoying getting to feel superior for a minute as a Canadian. If this turns out to not be true, it'll be a major kick in my balls. And I just can't have that right now, Matt. Oh, I guess more development on this story as it develops.
I guess so. Yeah, we'll find out soon enough.
Also, too, if she's not cast in this, that means we're not that much closer to finding out who's going to be Moon Knight.
No, maybe not.
Yeah, who knows? Who can say for sure? All right, what else we got going on here? Oh, of course, the big news from this week, the thing that everyone has been waiting for, the solicitations for January for DC, surprisingly, gave us the complete rundown on Future State. Just a couple weeks ago, we were making fun of Future State. What is it? What could it mean? I guess we won't know. Well, now we know. They actually dropped a bunch of information on it all at once.
Yeah, so we finally learned what 5G is.
I'm so glad we had the same thing, Matt, where people were basically saying to us, where it's like, oh, I wasn't interested in 5G, but this looks really cool. It's the same thing.
It is. It's the exact same thing.
It's just running for 2 months, and they may have changed a couple things here and there, but guys, you just don't stop a big rollout like 5G. Those books were already done. They just knew people hated the name 5G, so they changed it. That's all that happened. Literally.
And it's worked because people, for the most part, from what I've seen, commenting on it are pretty excited on it.
You know what this instantly reminded me of? It reminded me of that bit in The Simpsons where it's like, no, it's still the same Malibu Stacy that she always was. She just has a new hat. But she has a new hat. That's literally what Future State is. It's 5G with a new hat is all it is.
It is.
Now, that's still not to say that it might not be bad. I was one of the few other people where it's like, 5G, let's fucking see where it goes. The only difference is that it's not going to be a full-on crisis because they're like, no, we're going to do this for 2 months. We're going to do the Age of Apocalypse thing, and then we're just going to come back to business as usual. And I'm like, but didn't you guys do that with Convergence, and wasn't that actually a really bad idea?
Yeah, well, the thing that really interests me about this is the talent behind it, because
Yes.
with that convergence and all those things, they never focus on the books. It's always like, we got fucking Jim Lee to draw this one panel, and we got, you know, Jeff Johns on this book and all that sort of stuff. It was always about that, but this time it's the opposite, where it's about the stories and everything. And like, because you look at the people who are writing everything, and there's a few known names in there, but there's people in there I'm like, I've never heard of this person. They're writing Superman and all that sort of stuff.
It's very interesting the tact they took with it, because it's either unknowns or up-and-comers in big titles, which they would probably never give them the chance to helm on a monthly basis, as well as people from television and movies and the cartoons. Which makes me think, well, wait, if they're all working on this, what are your James Tynans and Scott Snyders and everyone else working on? Oh, they're probably working on the next thing. This is a stopgap until they can work on the real crisis or the real thing they want to do next. Which is a hell of a thing, because, again, Convergence was a 2-month stopgap when they moved. Remember when they moved from New York to LA, and they just
and then
needed
we got
something
like
to fill
DCU
the books.
after it and all that bullshit.
Which, hey, I DCU gave me Prez, man. I'll never be fully mad at it. But yeah, let's look at some of the titles we got going on here. We got The Next Batman. No, really, that's the title, not Batman. It's The Next Batman, which is going to be written by John Ridley. So this is going to be his Luke Fox story, the much touted Luke Fox story. It's going to be 4 issues. And here's another thing too. These books just aren't the books on their own. There's the headline title, and then there's like 2 other things they have in there that they were working on.
There's actually 4, and for a total, I think, of 5. 5 stories per issue.
Wow, which again, for those thinking that this wasn't supposed to be some big new line-wide thing that they're literally just stuffing it all, like, we gotta get it out, we already paid for it. Gotta get it out there. But what's interesting, too, about The Next Batman, and I'm sure you'll agree, too, obviously, you and I know it's Luke Fox. Everyone who's paying attention knows that it's Luke Fox, and this is going to be a brand new Black Batman story from, like, a major Black creator and everything. His costume is completely all covering, so you can't tell his race.
Well, and as well, I think that actually factors into the story, because the story behind 100%. It all is something called the Magistrate, which might actually be tied into this week's Detective Comics, maybe.
Yes, a private military corporation that's taken over security for Gotham now.
Yeah, and they've banned all vigilantes and mask-wearing heroes and whatnot, and apparently Bruce Wayne is dead.
We know he's not.
Yeah, we know he's not, but the city doesn't. So I'm guessing maybe the city learns that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and this is their, like, Batman appears and he's fully covered, so they think it's still Bruce.
That makes sense. And also, too, I'm sure DC knows full well from watching Disney and Marvel and how, you know, how well your average internet-dwelling nerd took the fact that there's a black stormtrooper. I'm sure if they saw a black face in the Batman suit, how pissy Twitter would get.
I've already had comments like that. I had a comment just last night on my Detective Comics book which said Batman can only be a white man.
Okay. Okay, you go back to your rally now. You leave the internet. The costume is actually pretty cool, though. I actually like the costume.
I really love that they've gone for the yellow bat symbol. I like that there's a bat symbol again, bringing back to that whole thing where it's meant to be a target. Take it off his face, sort of thing.
It's very slick. So yeah, we got The Next Batman. But we also have Harley Quinn. She's getting a series 2 written by Stephanie Phillips, again, who I haven't heard of. But again, it's anarchist Harley being anarchist Harley there. She looks more like Tank Girl than ever. Stephanie
Phillips, she just wrote, just this week, she wrote a Superman issue for that Superman Man of Tomorrow, and it was wonderful. So I'm I'm actually looking forward to that Harley Quinn book.
Sweet. Is she funny?
Yes, very funny and very, like, wholesome.
Well, all right, there you go. You sold me on that one. Then we have Future State Dark Detective, which I'm assuming is taking the place of Detective Comics. And we have Batman dressed in even more paramilitary garb minus a cape.
Yeah, he's very tactical looking Batman. A very cool helmet. I like the helmet. It kind of reminds me of like Captain America.
A little bit. Apparently, too, there's going to be a grifter story in this one, too. Apparently, much like Future's End, we're going hard in grifter now. Let's roll the dice on grifter again.
It's not called Grifter. It's called Grifters. And it's written by Matthew Rosenberg.
Oh, shit, for real. I wonder. Yeah, grifters, which I'm guessing it's a team now. All right, fair enough.
Everyone gets red face masks.
Everyone gets a mask, even you. And this is going to be written by Canada's own Mariko Tamaki, who, of course, is writing in the X-Men line right now. I do believe. Yes, that's her, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I was confused there for a second. Yeah, I've always liked her work, and I think it's super cool that they're throwing her on the big Batman book.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had a prominent lady writing Batman like month to month and forever, and hopefully this is like, something to come, because I keep saying Kelly Sue DeConnick should totally get to write Detective.
Yes.
Now, a very interesting one, too, that people were talking about, Future State Robin Eternal, #1. I like they're bringing back the Eternal thing. I liked Batman and Robin Eternal. And, you get a whole book about Tim Drake, everyone. And again, all it took was a complete shakeup of everything. But you're getting it. So there you go. And also the fact, too, that, he is very much Robin now. He's still owning that name, and it looks like no one else has it right now.
No one else is going to be using that name. And rightly so.
Yeah, and the fact that they're saying in the future, that's the way it's going to be. Ram V is continuing to write for Catwoman, and she looks even more futuristic now and everything. That's funny, too, where it's like, okay, so he's writing Catwoman in the present time, and he's going to be writing it for the future thing. I guess this tells us when we come back, he's going to keep writing it. I wonder if some of these teams, they're just trying out for when they start again.
That's the thing. Like, some of them have their current writers on them, where others are just completely new. Or like in Joshua Williamson's case, he switched over to writing Red Hood.
Yeah, We got Future State Nightwing with some amazing art by Nicola Scott, which has been making the rounds there. Holy shit. That's looking good.
Yeah, it does. It looks really good. I like his costume as well.
Yeah, again, it's more paramilitary, but it fits and it works. And it's funny, too, to think, our first big, hurrah with Nightwing, and, Dick finally knows who he is again. Oh, and it's going to be a weird future story. All right. Sure. Again, it seems like all the different families of books are dealing with their own things. So the Bat books are all about dealing with the Magistrate and, abandoned Arkham Asylum and everything else.
Yeah.
Gene Ewan Lang is again going to be getting to write Superman, only this time it's the Batman Superman title.
Yeah, that was really surprised me. We've got him on writing and Ben Oliver's doing the art, so the book is going to look and read really well.
This also seems to be a bit of a flashback. It sounds like here that this story is actually going to be fleshing out the rise of the Magistrate and everything else.
Yeah, it sounds like a sort of a prequel to how the Magistrate came about and how they apparently used Superman to take down Batman.
Yeah, which is funny because isn't it usually always the other way around in stories like these? Wait, why does my thing end there? Why does it only end at the Batman line of books? I thought I had the whole list in front of me. God
I've got the whole list.
Okay, sure. You take on from where I left off then till I get my shit together.
So we talked about all of them. Yeah, we've got the Nightwing. So we've got the Superman family stuff now. And looking at the list, the Superman family actually comes out on top above Batman in terms of books. For once.
Really, there's more. Well, I guess if he's going to be so important to the overall of it.
So you get the usual. You get two monthly books, which is the first one is Superman of Metropolis.
Yes, and it's John.
It's John in a role that might make him a villain, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Because he decides to shrink Metropolis because that's good.
Gotta keep it safe. Gotta keep it fresh. Gotta keep my Metropolis fresh.
That's going to be written by John Lewis. Sean Lewis, sorry.
Right.
Someone who I've never heard of.
No, neither have I. He's apparently fighting a new villain calling herself Honest Mary. Huh, all right.
And because he's shrinking the city, it puts him at odds with Supergirl.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the whole reason why Super Clark isn't Superman is because of some unknown crisis, international crisis happening in the future that makes him being rejected by Earth. So he ends up going to Warworld and rise through the ranks of the gladiatorial arena.
Yeah. That's pretty fucking dope.
We get a cool it's like basically World War Hulk.
Yeah, but with Superman, to where I'm like, all right, I'm down with that. I can digs it.
His costume looks cool, very Conan inspired. He's got the Kingdom Come shield and whatnot.
Yeah, he's got all the chains and shit. Even John's costume I like too. No cape and a big fucking belt buckle.
Big belt, yeah.
Big belt. I don't know what it is in this dark future. Everyone decided capes are stupid. Everyone started ditching their capes.
Lose the capes and big belts. That's the thing.
Yeah. Apparently, what is it? Frickin' The Incredibles ultimately ended winning in that conversation. No capes. What else do we have there, Matt? After the Superman family?
Well, in those Superman family books, we get a Mr. Miracle.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I'm looking at this too.
Who isn't scot-free? It's Shiloh Coleman.
Trying some new shit out, clearly.
Yep. We get Midnighter. Midnighter's getting another book.
Nice, as he always should.
Yeah, written by Becky Cloonan.
Sweet. Oh, that's a good mix, actually. That's a really good mix.
Yep. And Black Racer is getting a book, but it's not Black Racer. It's someone else. It's something else, yeah.
Mystery and intrigue for 2 months.
Yeah, now the thing is that with the Superman family, they kind of shovel in the Wonder Woman stuff as well. They include that in that family as well for some reason.
I think it's the same office, actually.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, same editors.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got the Wonder Woman stuff. We got the Immortal Wonder Woman, which is Diana, who looks a little bit older. She's got a little bit of silver in her hair, and she has a Green Lantern ring and Batman's belt, and I think Superman's cape.
We don't know how that happened, but it's a pretty dope look.
Yeah, it's a really dope look. But we also get the new Wonder Woman, who is what is her name? I just had it here. Her name is Yara Flor, and she's from the Amazonian rainforest.
Which Steve Orlando actually set up in a Wonder Woman annual that there's a secret third tribe of Amazons out there in the Amazon, which is actually pretty fucking cool as an idea. Also, Nubia's coming back too at some point. One of these books says, and also Nubia.
Yeah.
So hey, if you're a Wonder Woman fan, guess what? You get like literally everything you've been asking for. all the warriors, all the warrior women, get in there.
Yep. We get another Supergirl book, but she's not being called Supergirl. She's being called Superwoman.
Yes, Kara Zor-El, the Superwoman, and she's dropped the House of L symbol from her suit.
Well, I think she's got it on her belt.
Oh, does she? Okay, see the picture. Oh, yeah, I can see kind of one here.
And I do like that, like the way the costume on her neck, like sort of sits on her shoulders. It looks like the House of L symbol.
Yeah, it's kind of fun too. It looks like she doesn't have like the traditional cape like she used to. It's kind of like a battle skirt, like a popped collar. It's not
really
bad,
cool.
actually.
Yeah, it's
very
really
crazy.
cool.
It's very different. Yeah, I don't hate it.
Yeah, she's getting a book written by Marguerite Bennett.
Nice. See, I will actually pick that up because I think that's a fucking killer combo. What do you think the odds are too with these? Like, whichever one of these books sells well and whatever people really respond to, they're gonna work to integrate that later. I know that was always the plan with Convergence, and it feels like they never actually did that when Convergence was done, minus Convergent Superman, which I think they were gonna do anyway.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's definitely going to happen, especially with Supergirl, because she doesn't have a book at the moment, and no one seems to really know what to do with her.
No one's ever known what to do with her, which is a real shame.
Yeah, we got Superman versus Imperious Lex by Mark Russell.
Yeah, who we love. And again, this one looks to be a little funnier and a little more out there. It looks like Lex is some kind of religious leader now, leading like an anti-Superman crusade.
Kind of feels like that future we see in Scott Snyder's Justice League. You know that far future or alternate Earth where like he's like leads the Earth sort of thing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, do we actually kind of get something close to that now?
Yeah, that looks really fun, I guess. Again, Mark Russell. You can't go wrong.
He's also created Lexor City, which, Lex is City of the Future, which he's often talked about that before. Now he actually has it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we got Legion of Superheroes. Again, Brian Michael Bendis is staying on that book.
just cannot stop the Ben train.
And again, as we said, like some of these writers are staying on, some are moving to other books. It's very strange.
Yeah. I guess he still had stories to tell with it. Go figure. That's all right. I'm not reading the Legion, and I doubt I'll start now.
Moving on, we've got the Justice League family, which the setup of this is quite interesting because it seeks to imply that we're getting a new Justice League with all these new heroes, you know, John and Luke and all that. But it seems like they're keeping their identity secret from even each other.
Which is an interesting concept, I guess, in a world where superheroes are being more policed or looked at more closely.
Yeah. So that's quite interesting. And again, it talks about like some old evolved enemy comes and they know all the secret identities or something.
Should be good.
We got Justice League Dark, again written by Ram V, which just sounds like more Justice League Dark stuff.
Yeah,
it's very
I know.
vague.
Man, I read the last issue of Justice League Dark and I didn't even cover it because I'm just like, I'm so tired with this story now. I loved this book so much when it started, and I feel bad for Ram V because he's a good writer, but it's just like, hey, finish what Tynan was doing.
Again, it feels like it should be coming to an end because like Odyssey is ending and Dark started around the same time that started, so it feels like it should be coming to an end.
Yeah. And they kind of are, but it feels like they're milking the end. I don't know. Maybe Future State will give it the shot in the arm it needs. I don't know. What's the horror of the future look like, Matt?
The same. Chaos. The order of chaos is back. I don't know.
Or something. We're not writers. That's for you to figure out.
We got the Green Lantern stuff, which sounds actually really damn cool since it's John Stewart and the remaining Green Lanterns are stranded in a shadow of a dead power battery on Oa.
Again, hey, we finally let John Stewart lead a Green Lantern book again, and all it took was the end of the world and jumping forward 2 months, and we're going to change it back. Literally a lot of Future State, and indeed what 5G generations would have been, is like, does this make you happy? Do you want this? We gave you the thing. Do you like the thing?
Yeah, it's funny because like I just don't know why they couldn't let him just have his book, because he had that book. He was part of the Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps book, and then he had like he was in the Green Lantern book before that, which was it New Guardians?
It was one of them. He was going around with
and it was great. It was great. And now, and he's like the main Green Lantern now, but no one can seem to really want to give him a book, and at least now he's got a book now, and his costume looks really cool.
Yeah. So, more power to him. Here's hoping it makes the John fans happy.
Hopefully.
Yeah. What else you got?
We got Suicide Squad, written by Robbie Thompson. Again, looks quite intriguing because we've got Connor Kent Superboy or Superman on the team. A Batman who we don't know who is. It's a white guy. It's a white guy. Again,
is this what Damien became?
Is this what Clown Hunter became?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I know there's a lot of theories about where those characters could potentially go.
We got an Aquaman, but I don't think it's Aquaman. It's like some weirdo alien or something.
Yeah. So are they doing like the Thunderbolt thing, where did they grab a bunch of villains and make them dress up like heroes?
I did read. I can't find the like little solicitation for it, but it did. Yeah, here it says something. It's the Suicide Squad of Earth 3.
Okay.
So it's like an evil suicide or an eviler Suicide Squad.
It's like, wait, but aren't they evil on Earth 3? So wouldn't the Suicide Squad technically be the good guys? I guess we'll have to find out. I'm always down for a Suicide Squad romp.
Yeah. I just hope it's worth why that other Suicide Squad book got like canned.
Or ended prematurely or whatever, because totes agree, man.
What do we got after that? We got Aquaman. Again, a lot of these are included actually in the Superman family stuff.
Yeah. I like that it's finally Calder, and they once again fused his TV show look and his comic look, and he's going to be Aquaman now, and also mentoring a young Aquaman's daughter.
Yeah, it looks really great. Looks great.
I love the color palette on this. This is a really good looking book. Good job, what is it, Daniel Sampry?
Yeah, it looks really damn good.
I fully support this one, and this will be the first Aquaman comic I willingly check out in a while.
What else we got? We got Flash, which
a lot
everyone was
happening in
quick
this
to
one.
jump to conclusions about.
Do tell, Matt. Do dispel.
It's because the covers, again, covers lie. The covers show Wally West as evil, quote unquote. But if you read the solicitation, it's because he's been possessed by famine.
Do we know who that is, or is that a new character?
Well, I'm not sure. I know it's like famine, as in like the plague famine sort of thing,
or like war, famine, and pestilence.
Yeah, it's something like that. So that's quite cool. We got
speedsters of the apocalypse.
We got the Teen Titans.
Yes, with a team that's kind of a fusion of a lot of what's going on right now. We got Dick back on the team, but he's almost doing like not quite his disco outfit, but the one he had a little after that with the blue and the gold, Starfire, what looks to be Red Hood, Raven, and oh look, hey, friggin' Lobo's daughter is still here too.
Yeah. Just reading about it, it seems like the Flash, the Shazam, and the Teen Titans books are all interconnected because they're all fighting the four riders of the apocalypse.
Oh, well, there you go. I made a joke about it, but that's what it is. Yeah, also, they're apparently starting a school for young heroes, which is a pretty clever premise.
Yep. Yeah. The Titans Academy.
And yes, as people keep yelling at us in the comics over and over again, Red X is here, the character you love from your cartoon show that you've been browbeating the comic industry forever. They finally listened to you and are finally doing the thing.
I'm gonna say something controversial here. I don't give a fuck about Red X. I think it's a nothing character. It's just, again, like Red Hood looks.
The point of Red X is that he was a fake identity that the Robin of that show created to throw people off the scent. Then another person took it up and we never learned their identity, and that's the whole point.
Yeah, I don't know why people love him so much. It's a cool costume, that's about it.
That is literally it. Now, on the upside to that, that means that the writer can actually infuse a real character in there. Who knows?
Yeah, but, whoever it is, it's not going to be what everyone else thought, and that makes it bad.
Or maybe they'll just keep it vague. Maybe that'll be the whole joke, where it's like, they never take off the costume, we never learn their name. They exist in vagary. That's his real superpower, Red X, the ability to be very vague. Yeah, what else was there, Matt? Was that it, or
we
already mentioned Shazam.
We got Swamp Thing, yes, Shazam, yep. We got Swamp Thing, which seems quite interesting because Swamp Thing seems to be a villain in this.
Which, I mean, he was always ever just a couple steps away from there when he decided people weren't loving the Earth enough.
The story apparently takes place at the end of time, where Swamp Thing reveals its true intentions and ends up ruling Earth until the remnant of humanity launches a rebellion.
Well, shit.
And then we got a Black Adam 1 million book.
Right, yeah, because we gotta keep Black Adam nice and formidable and nice and in the
relevant
public eye now.
Yep.
Yeah, nice and relevant because he's getting a movie soon. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, and I think that's all of it. It's hard. It's really hard to tell which one's a book and which one's not, because each monthly has 4 or 5 stories in it.
They're jamming a lot together in this one. It is going to be interesting, too, when we eventually get around to finally covering these, where it's like, okay, here's the main one, and then here's, like, the 2 backups that we got.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, that means people are definitely going to get their, like, money's worth on stories, and they're not going to be, like, left out. Like, they're going to get, like, the whole story, basically.
I'm glad you mentioned money there, Matt, because like with all this extra stuff in here to cover their costs, are they going to charge extra for these? Wouldn't that be a fuck of a move?
I mean, they could technically count this like death metal as an event, which means they could get event pricing, which is usually a little bit more expensive, like $2 more or something.
Yeah.
I could see them doing that.
I wonder how this is going to go, because I remember hearing horror stories from my local comic shop back during Convergence, where it's like they could not move the comics. They could just not get rid of them, because like everyone who had started reading comics in the New 52, what do you mean my book isn't here anymore? What do you mean it's an amalgamation of a bunch of shit I haven't read before?
Yeah, it got too... Like, yeah, I know a lot of people didn't read Convergence because it was so hinged on Earth 2.
Yes, and so hinged on continuity and knowledge of stories that came before. This is at least shit that's happening in the future, so maybe they won't have that problem, but let's see.
Well, again, it spins out of death metal, and that's confirmed that it spins out of death metal and is apparently meant to be a... Well, from what I understood, something like at the end of death metal, they managed to change the universe back to what they think is real, but it ends up changing it into the future state stuff. Because something goes wrong.
But we know this will only last for like 2 months.
Again, I think there's probably going to be a through line of some characters or something, maybe from the past coming and rechanging the future or something.
Because isn't there always?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wonder how this is going to play out, because on one hand, I'm like, well, this feels just like the same old tired, we got to shake things up. We got to get people interested in looking that you've done before. But on the other hand, I'm not reading a lot of DC books anyway right now, because I'm genuinely bored and having a hard time, investing in everything that's going on right now. So, all right, fuck it. Let's see if these stories do any better, I guess.
Yeah, well, I imagine a lot of people might feel like the same way as you do, and this might be the thing that, like, draws them back in.
Of course, the problem with that is like, well, what if they really do like Catwoman Future State, or they really do like the status quo of Nightwing for Future State? It's just going to go back to normal in 2 months, and then will those people drop off again? Well, do you think you're going to keep them?
Again, I think that maybe we'll see which books are popular and which books aren't, and which ones stick around and which ones... I don't know, don't. I guess they'll probably try and figure a way to work it into continuity or something, or...
As the real Manos says in the comments section there, DC is exhausting. Yeah, they can be sometimes, can't they? No, this is in continuity, but only for 2 months. No, this isn't in continuity. No, this is new and different. No, this is an old event, but we just put a different name on it.
This isn't even including the Generation stuff we got coming out as well.
No, yeah, there's Generation stuff too, which is different and its own other thing unto itself.
Well, the Generation stuff is weird, whereas this is all the future stuff. The Generation stuff is the past stuff, the stuff that happens before all of the stuff we've been reading.
Because, again, I can only assume, judging by the little concept art that we saw, the way that 5G was supposed to go is that, yeah, we would get stories in the past, probably built around Wonder Woman and the new JSA, and that retconned history. Stories in the present, which would probably be just what's going on right now that we've been reading. And the future state, the future stuff, and all of these things would have been running at the same time. And maybe they would have been connecting, or maybe it would have just been like, okay, hey, pick the thing you want to read, everybody.
Yeah, and then out of that as well, we're going to be getting a definitive timeline, which I don't know whether it's happening anymore. Because we haven't heard anything about it. Because they had that, they showed it at that one convention, and one person out of all the people there managed to get a blurry ass photo of it, and it looked like it was actually pretty well together timeline.
You know when we stopped hearing about it? When Dan DiDio left.
Yeah. So are they like redesigning that or something, or just not bothering with it? Because again, it comes into that what Diana said in death metal, where it's like everything matters and all that sort of stuff. So they're just not bothering with that and just going, pick what you want.
Lich Lord Chris, the future until it isn't. Comics in a nutshell right there, which honestly, I think they wised up by not having a timeline. They're like, no, we can't have a timeline as DC because nothing will ever make sense again if we do, because we will crisis
We'd be
again.
Locked into what we can do.
Yeah, we will crisis again in 5 to 8 years. Like, again, for any problem you can say about Marvel, they have had one solid timeline.
Sliding time scale, it works.
A sliding time scale that has been mostly unmolested.
It works pretty well. Well.
For them, yeah, but it's like, no, I don't think you could ever do that at DC because
No.
you guys are addicted to crises, which is funny because that's actually kind of like something Snyder is talking about in death metal right now.
Maybe that's why it's not going to be a crisis, whereas like death metal could have absolutely have been a crisis.
Mm-hmm. I can also only assume too that, you know, this 2-month stopgap and why they're heading on with this 5G stuff anyway, but just calling it something different, is because they need that 2 months probably to pick new creative teams for the books they have right now, because a lot of them are winding down, a lot of them are hitting like 100 issues, etc., etc.
Yeah. Because I know, like, I started the new Flash writers stuff today, and it could be seen as like, what if he's telling the story he's going to tell. I think maybe by the time he finishes it, it'll be after January. So it could be like, oh, he's moving on, and then we'll get a new writer in.
I feel that's what they're going to be doing with a lot of these. It's just like, okay, you had 2 months off, now time to rejigger and decide who's staying, who's going, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So again, it's like a crisis, but it's not a crisis. It's a creative refresh, whatever you wanna call it.
Yeah, it's a light crisis.
It's a light crisis light, which again, hey, the original death metal was actually supposed to be called Dark Crisis, but they didn't at the last second. So there you go.
And they're all better for it.
Yeah, make of that what you will. And I guess with that, we can actually talk about what we read this week, Matt.
Yeah, well, let's keep on the DC trend and talk about Death Metal issue 4.
Yeah, so I both liked and didn't like this issue in equal measure. On one hand, again, the meta stuff is very, very fun, especially what you were saying with Wonder Woman fighting Superboy Prime, who is just at his whiny, entitled fanboy best.
He's a piece of shit gatekeeper.
He literally calls himself a gatekeeper here and is so super fucking stoked and proud about it.
Yeah, he's proud about wanting things to stay the same and never change.
Yeah, you guys are the problem. I literally sold you all out to this dark Lovecraftian god so I can keep my memories and my heroes in this little bubble where nothing ever changes to them.
Yeah, it's very relevant. Very relevant.
Very, very relevant. And again, Wonder Woman gives a pretty great speech too, like you said, it all matters. And like, look, your heroes are always your heroes, even if they're changed, even if they're doing this, that, and the other, which admittedly is kind of how I've always felt about comic books too, when people get pissed about changes, where it's like, yeah, it's different now, but give it a year. Change is the only constant in the universe, guys.
I've been saying this like for as long as I can remember, and to have it actually written out in a comic and be like, yeah, this is how it is. It's like, yeah, I thought I was going crazy being like one of the only ones to see it like that way.
And the wheel is always turning, and where it's like, okay, perfect example. I love Green Arrow. They did Green Arrow dirty. He doesn't have a book right now, but he'll have one again, and imagine how happy I'll be.
Yeah, exactly. Superboy's going to be a kid again. It's going to just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it's not going to happen in a year or two,
Everything in comics is cyclical.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As far as the rest of the comic, it feels like they kind of got out of their problem really easily, where it's like, oh no, we're trapped in these crises. Oh no, Darkseid is an old god now. Oh no, the White Martian Monitor. Oh hey, Starro found us and we just got out.
Well, I think it seemed to be more sort of leaning on Superboy Prime being convinced by Wonder Woman, because the paneling was really weird. I thought I might have missed a page where it's implied that he punches the antenna and shatters it and whatnot, because then it just cuts to like them freed, and I thought like, oh, is there like a page missing or something?
Or like, did he literally affect continuity again? Like when he punched the walls of reality and Jason Todd got to live again?
Yeah. Again, that's mentioned and it's used as like a reference here for him to like do it again, except break an antenna that will stop a god from getting her power.
Yeah, don't make me do it. Don't make me punch reality. Don't make me have a temper tantrum. Which again, all that is fun and all of that is interesting and everything, but it's just like, oh yeah, this was just issue 4 of a bigger series. This just kind of felt like a whatchamacallit, like a detour. I'm like, oh, well, I guess that detour's over now.
Yeah.
Just detour over. No. But I mean, it was what it was. I didn't hate it. It's just like, where's the story going again? Because it ends with like the Batman Who Laughs, The Darkest Night, getting the Crisis energy, so now he's able to reshape the Earths into what he calls the Last 52.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people didn't understand what was happening there. He didn't put a trap in the chair, because people thought, well, why couldn't he just sit on the chair? It's like the chair didn't want him. The chair picks who it wants to be on it. But he didn't put a trap in the chair to redirect the power. He put a trap around the chair that redirected the power. Because he couldn't touch the chair or get on it or anything.
Which is very funny that they're referencing a story that didn't even get to come out, right? Him in the chair and everything else.
Yeah, you had to go pay extra in that fucking Flashpoint thing, which I did, by the way, everyone. I'm just going to remind everyone that I did that.
That's amazing. That's such a beautiful, just like, mwah, comics. Here's an important piece of the story that you actually don't get. But, so it's how many issues again, Death Metal? It's,
7? Finishes in January.
Right, yeah. Which the funny thing about that, too, is, like, it's only this many issues. Yeah, but you got to keep reading all the tie-ins, though, because literally every tie-in has been super, super important and just a continuation of the story.
We get the Robin Prince tie-in this week, and I thought it was just going to be, like, an expansion on his story, and it looked like it is, but then, like, in the preview, it's like, oh, it's actually picking up right after the ending of Death Metal issue 4. I'm like, oh, I've got to pick that one up as well.
It's so crazy, because, like, if you only read Death Metal 3 and then jumped to 4, you would have missed so much with the Flash family and with why they're even trapped in these other Crisis worlds.
They do like a little, like, fun little thing with the Sergeant Rock talking to us, sort of catching you up on it. But yeah, you would miss, like, all the little stuff that he didn't mention.
Which is the funniest part of that comic. And again, Death Metal is a comedy book, but like, I felt this was a very serious issue.
Yeah, well, I kind of think they have had to do a serious issue now. It's like, okay, we've had our fun for 3 issues, just got to get serious here for a minute, and then we'll go back to, like, the schlock.
Please do, because I think this series is literally at its best when it's just schlocking it up all over the place.
It's great.
It's the simple things in life. I enjoy that Scott Snyder used his clout to sneak in a silly, wacky comedy book under the guise of something called Death Metal. All right, so what else did we have this week, Matt?
We had Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man issue 50.
Yes, the big unmasking of Kindred, 2 years in the making.
And we called it. Well, we had a bunch of different theories, but this one was one of us, and I still don't think it's true. I think it's a red herring.
There's got to be extra stuff here, because, like, it's very Occam's razor, right? The simplest solution is the right one.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the simplest solution is the right one. Everyone, when it first starts, like, oh, it's got to be Harry. Harry hasn't done anything in a bit. And yeah, seemingly Kindred is ultimately Harry, though we don't actually see him unmasked. We only have Norman's word for it.
Also, Norman was referencing when Kindred visited him in the insane asylum. He didn't actually see who Kindred was, did he? He could hear him through that the slot and whatnot. So, like, again, this could just be, Kindred's whole thing is, like, fucking with Spider-Man's enemies and, like, fucking with Peter himself. So, like, this could definitely be a thing. And we saw even more of it because he fucking dug up George Stacy and Gwen Stacy.
Yes. Which, what a Joker move.
Yeah, and sitting them at a table for some reason.
Until proved otherwise, I am still very much married to my multiple Kindreds theory that it's just like, it's like frickin' Murder on the Orient Express. It's like Hot Fuzz. It's a bunch of people swapping off the costume.
So that support group, because that support group got mentioned again by Carly Cooper and whatnot.
Yes, it did.
So he keeps, like, peppering that through, and we haven't seen any of it since he introduced it a while back.
Indeed. A lot of people saying, too, it's like, oh, what if it's Norman's other son? What if it's Gabriel Stacy, the Grey Goblin? I'm like, they will not reference sins past.
Hey, they've done it already.
They kind of did. They mentioned it without mentioning it. I'd love if they did,
just because I know it pisses so many people off.
Oh, the rage that day would be amazing. And I think I'd be mad, too. But then again, it's like so much of Nick Spencer's run is like, look, I am housekeeping the Spider-Man universe, and that's definitely one of those things to be, okay, I'm going back and fixing this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, if he went back and did, like, the twist that Straczynski originally wanted to do and be like, okay, he's not Norman's son, he's actually Peter's son.
Mm-hmm.
which is what Straczynski actually wanted to do, because if you do that, you redeem Gwen. Sins Past is still a dumb story, but now it's, like, not gross.
Yeah.
Which is the least you can do. And that he'd do it, and then he'd kill Gabriel. It's like, okay, he's dead now, so you don't have to worry about him ever again.
Yeah, Kindred would like, or like a Kindred would kill him or something.
Or something like that. Obviously, we got the other members of the Spider family, the Web Warriors, the Order of the Web, whatever you want to call them. They get corrupted by the Sin Eater's souls that he had reaped, and so now they've all become monstrous versions of himself that Spider-Man will have to fight in the next couple 0.5 issues.
Yeah, their role up until this point was just so nothing, because I had to like catch up to get to this issue, and it was just them just standing around saying the same thing for like 3 issues.
Yeah, that's really all that it was.
Just to get them into Ravencroft so they could get infected.
Yeah, in the first place. And it's like, look, I appreciate that Gwen and Miles are here. The rest of you,
Yeah. Who are you, Spider-Girl? You?
Yeah, the rest of you I could really take or leave. And I know everyone kind of has their own favorite in the Web Warriors, but it's just like, meh, all right.
Yeah, meh.
Meh, all right. Also, too, Madam Web being like, it's already too late. We've already fucked up.
Yeah, it's just something she's kind of been saying the whole time.
But does nothing to stop and does nothing to update anyone else.
Yeah, but the web, it's all-knowing.
The web is everywhere. But also, maybe Kindred did this to us, so it's not the web, which perhaps implies that maybe Kindred is someone who can interact with the web, which is interesting.
No, I don't know.
I actually came up with a theory. This is one of those ones I had in the shower early in the morning. Hey, maybe the reason that Harry is acting evil now, despite the fact that he's actually been on the straight and narrow for like a good long time now, is maybe because Peter and MJ are falling in love again. Mm-hmm. Mephisto's spell is breaking, and now he has his like one more day memory seeping in of him dying and then coming back to life, and that's driving him fucking crazy.
Yeah, like he got the memory of him dying back. Yes. And it like broke him.
Exactly.
Maybe it could be similar to like his father. Like his dad had like a really great line where he like talked about how him and Peter first met, quote unquote, with the masks on and off, and how Peter shunned him and like rejected him, and how that was like the thing that like broke him. Maybe it could be something like similar to that. Like Harry's repeating the cycle.
Yeah. Also, too, someone added an extra point to this that I actually quite enjoyed, where they're like, maybe that's why Aunt May has cancer now, and maybe that's why she's dying, and that's another side effect of the Mephisto thing, because she got brought back to life, too, as part of the original deal, and if Peter and Mary Jane, fall in love and get married again, the deal is null and void. Again,
Doctor Strange says there's always a price.
Yeah, there's always a price to pay for magic, which would also be a way for them to put the toys back in the box for the next writer, to be like, okay, so I can't be with Mary Jane and we can't be married, because if so, literal devil magic will kill us and or drive our friends crazy. Which, wouldn't that be a hell of a price to pay?
Yeah.
But so yeah, there's that for you, everyone. There's certainly lots of places this story could go now as we move into the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. What else did you want to talk about, Matt?
Let's talk about the 3 X of Swords parts we got. Part 6, 7, and 8.
3 very, very different stories.
Oh yeah, 3 very different stories. 2 of which are actually worth it.
Yeah, and another one that's I can see why it underperformed. I guess we'll start with Hellions this week, which I've been talking about how much I love Hellions for a while, because it's just comedic fun.
Now, I did want to ask you that, because I've been meaning to review the rest of the series, but I never got around to it. And like that first issue was like, it was a little funny, but it was quite serious. Yeah. It was like, oh, this is the Suicide Squad, but like mutants and stuff. But this issue is just full on fucking comedy. Like, did the book suddenly change and like, oh, we need to be like the Suicide Squad that's currently running now?
I think the difference is because the first arc focused on the team. Sinister put them together, and then he sent them out into the world. This story is all about Sinister himself, and oh my god, he is just
He's fabulous.
Yeah, he is a wacky, fabulous, just force of nature everywhere.
He's great. He goes. If this book was just about Sinister, I would pick it up in an instant.
I mean, that's basically what this story is. It's all wonderful. It's almost like a sitcom is what it is.
Yeah.
They're all sitting around, and Sinister's like, you know what the problem is that we're all been playing by the rules in this sword tournament. We should be cheating. I should be cheating. And they're like, okay, what were you thinking? Let me send my disposable team to Otherworld to steal the other guy's sword so they have to forfeit the competition. Okay, cool. But you have to lead them, though. Well, I didn't want to do that. Well, we voted, and you're going.
I like that the breaking tie on that was Sinister picking on Polaris and how Havoc follows her around like a puppy, and it made Eric change his mind.
Yeah, talking mad shit about Magneto's one kid, and he's like, all right, fuck you, you're going. And then, even Sinister tries to get out of it. It's like, well, I don't want to go, but I got this secret cloning facility.
I'll send one of my clones.
And then they rock, paper, scissors over who gets the cape, because whoever gets the cape is the real Sinister for the moment. So fucking wonderful. And then I didn't finish Excalibur, but I guess Jamie Braddock is now the head of Avalon and everything, so Sinister has to go through him, and he's a huge dick, and they basically have a big dick off.
Yeah, he's like a petulant child king.
Yeah. Bring me my pony. I want a pony. I don't like the pony anymore. You can take the pony.
Yeah, but I want your cape.
Wow, I love that. And just poor, dejected Sinister walking around without a cape.
I love that he stops random passers-by to say that he usually has a cape and doesn't always look like this.
And then there's kind of like a background story of Empath who missed the first arc because Grey Crow shot him in the head for being an asshole. And now he's the only one who can save him, but Sinister literally has to beg for him to save them. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's great. So they're off on their journey into Otherworlds, sort of snuck in. Well, I say snuck in, where they kind of came in a grand entrance and whatnot.
Yeah, really.
So yeah,
all over the
it'll be interesting to see how their story develops.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder, how important are they ultimately going to be?
Yeah, well, again, there's that whole sort of stakes that if they, not only if they get caught, they'll all get killed and they can't come back, but also the fact that if they get caught, the X-Men forfeit the contest, and that puts all of Earth in danger.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're trusting it to these idiots.
Yeah, to fucking Mr. Sinister.
And his gang of losers, man. It's kind of interesting, too, because, literally another reason this is funny and another reason it's the perfect comedic farce is that no one on the Hellions was picked, not even Sinister himself.
No,
so,
yeah.
They know that they don't matter in the great scheme of things. Which is kind of hilarious for this big, big world redefining event. And it's and we don't matter. Even frickin' Psylocke, who's I've got swords. Why didn't they invite me to the sword fight? Literally, swords are my thing.
It's like Silver Samurai, who's all jealous that Wolverine got picked and he didn't, when his whole deal is he's a samurai.
We have one thing. Why is this prophecy's fucking stupid? I guess from there we can move on over to New Mutants, which I think we can both agree this was the best one of the week, and I'm shocked that this was the best
Absolutely.
one.
I really enjoyed this. I love that they gave Cypher some more depth and character other than, as he says, the language guy.
This feels like a story that was written for the sole purpose to shut up people like me who routinely dump on Cypher all the time for having a very, very particular skill that's only good in a small amount of situations. And they're like, no, the thing about Cypher is that if any of you became a mutant, you would be Cypher because he wants to be a hero and wants to be a fighter, but physically he's not capable of any of it. But he still feels this nationalistic pride to do something, to fight and die for his community and the people around him, even when literally everyone is telling him not to and trying to give him chances to weasel out of it.
Yeah, it's just great where, everyone knows that, you can't send the goddamn language guy because he's the language guy. He's a fucking nerd.
Mm-hmm.
He's a weedy nerd, and of course, he can't fight and everything. And he's important to Krakoa because without him, Krakoa doesn't have a voice, and Krakoa's voice is one of the most important things for the Quiet Council, at least.
They really up his importance in that regard. Where it's look, if you die, we can't bring you back, and that means we won't be able to communicate with Krakoa, which means basically our society will die if you die.
Yeah, there's just keep adding the stakes up on this whole thing.
They really, really do. And, we got a whole thing there where, like, Magic tries to give him a training montage, and he's just not good at it at all, but, like, he still gets up and keeps trying. He's like Rudy, he's like Rocky Balboa, he's this real kind of underdog. Exodus gets the best line, though, because Exodus is basically just sounding like me and everyone who always hated Cypher, where he's like, I could kill you, I could kill you, and then they'd have to send me. Because here's the thing, man, they don't write, great historic epics, and they don't write songs about fucking translators. They write them about warriors and conquerors.
Yeah, his role was pretty good. Again, he's someone who's a little bit jealous he didn't get picked for this whole thing. But yeah, I do find that funny, though, because, like, on Krakoa, like, his whole deal is that he's the storyteller. To the children.
Yes,
so it's kind of like a little bit hypocritical of him.
Absolutely, to say, what the histories and stories are made of. Also, too, for a villain to now basically be like Minister of Education and also telling like real doctored propaganda histories too, where it's like, oh, and Scarlet Witch is the boogeyman who stole us away and she's very bad, but Magneto is great and awesome and got a huge dick and everything else. It's like, but he committed so many other crimes against mutants too. Yeah, but that's part of telling the story. I get to, brush it all over. But yeah, so that issue ended up being totally freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Cypher's role, and I like that he was able to unlock his power so that he can use it as to like read the body language of like Magic and predict what she's going to do and whatnot. That's pretty cool.
The language of combat. But even after that, the comic actually ends on like a really dark tone where even Magic, where he's like, do you think I'm ready, Magic? And she's like, no, I think if you pull that sword out, you're going to die.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Again, the stakes just keep getting raised up and up for Krakoa.
Also, to a fact that, they kind of breeze over, but will probably be important later. Everyone now knows Warlock is on the island and that Warlock is his robot buddy and his sword. And you're thinking like, well, why is that so important? Well, because as we saw in House of X and Powers of X, the future will be decided by the mutant versus AI conflict. And they have an AI living on the island now.
Yeah, that no one knew except for Krakoa.
Except for Krakoa there, and certainly that's probably going to be a problem if he ever gets out of it. And also, the fact that Cypher and Warlock are also two people and not just one. Yeah.
Well, I imagine like Lady Opal and like the people of Arakko don't technically know that because he looks like a sword. He can always just stay in that form.
And again, too, it's like, is that breaking the rules? Is that going to be a problem if they find out that, Warlock is actually another being unto itself?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting for sure.
What's the bet? Do you think Warlock's going to sacrifice himself to keep Doug alive?
That would be really interesting. That would definitely be a way to go with it. Or it's like, Cypher dies, but he doesn't have to be rebuilt because like Warlock goes into him and they like fuse even harder.
Or a loophole is that so the sword bearer is technically Warlock because he's the weapon, but he's a person as well. So is he technically the sword bearer, not Cypher? And is this going to be like a red herring where like they go all the trouble to go over there and then they're like, no, Cypher's not it, Warlock is.
Yeah, oh yeah, that would be fun. They rules lawyer their way out of danger.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, you're disqualified right away. Your team's not disqualified, but you're disqualified from this fight, meaning you don't have to die. But like Team Krakoa down 1 point. But he's just like, whew, thank God I don't have to fight. And the last one we had this week, and I think we can all agree, probably the most disappointing one for a lot of reasons that will become obvious, but that was Cable number 5.
Yeah, I wouldn't even class this as a fucking X of Swords part. This is just like a Cable issue. And even then, it's not even that.
We couldn't tell a story about him getting his Magic Space Knight sword because literally that was the first 4 issues of his book.
Again, I said in my review, why didn't they just because they knew obviously when they were writing that X of Swords was coming out, why didn't they just change it around so that became his X of Swords part?
Doesn't make much sense at all. And then it's like, okay, well, we're going to learn a lot about the Peak, this, derelict sword facility that apparently Saturnine and Erico wanted the mutants to find. And yeah, we get a lot of questions, but not a lot of answers. Apparently, the crew was killed by a group of aliens who are sentient diseases, and they have a big portal, basically a Stargate, not unlike the ones the mutants use, but no one asks any questions or finds any useful information in this story.
Yeah, they start up the sword tower, they learn that there's a gate, and that's it. And then the whole thing is like, oh, they're coming through the gate, what do we do? Oh, Cable just needs to pull his sword out. You would have thought they would have done something where like he goes to pull the sword out but can't, and he has to fight without the sword first, and then get it back, or like learn to use its power or something, because he doesn't seem to really understand how the sword works.
No, yeah, that was a thing right at the very end where he's like, oh, I don't know my odds because I've only had this sword for like a couple days, basically, and it has all these powers I don't know yet how to use, and I'm mostly a gun guy, you know, will I be able to pull my weight?
Yeah, I said they should have done the story where like he gets the sword, he's trying to figure out like its power because he knows it's got power, and then the Space Knights, the Galador, come for him, and he has to like use the sword and its power to defend himself, and in doing so learns how to wield it.
Yeah, this one really felt like a lot of nothing. I agree.
Yeah.
Shame, because, you know, Duggan can do so much better. And I'm like, hey, but Duggan wrote that awesome Marauders book with Storm. No, he didn't actually.
No.
Which is a real bummer that this is the weak link in the series so far. We get 3 more next week. We get X-Men and X of Swords, not Creation, but like another one that's like part 11, and that officially marks the halfway point.
Yeah, Stasis?
Stasis, thank you.
Yeah.
Creation, Stasis, and whatever the other one is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we get 3 more next week. So all in all, a lot of highs and lows this week. The highs were really high and the lows were really low.
Yeah, it was all over the place.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I wonder what the next one is going to be, because after this week, we're officially 5 for 10.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see a couple more people get their swords and get their shit together.
Yeah, I think by issue 11, everyone will have their swords.
Yeah. Is the Cerebro sword one of the swords too?
I have to be. It have to be.
Is
that too obvious?
Yeah, because Zeno and the Russian guys got it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, that was really probably something that X-Force should deal with, but we've already done X-Force for the month.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get that again, or what books haven't we got? Well, we've got X-Men coming out this week, yes. I think. What were the other ones coming out this week?
Yeah, good question.
Here, I've got my list here. Hold on. Oh wait, no, I don't have my list.
Take your time.
I know X-Men's coming out, and I think that's probably going to be like an X of Swords event, because I don't think
centric one.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be an actual sword in that book. It's going to be probably dealing with Apocalypse, him dying, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Also, too, we're still like 3 sword bearers shy of whatever the bad guys on their team are going to be, as we mentioned last week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking their special 10th, their special ringer, is that Saturnine herself is going to get in on it.
Ooh. I guess. Oh yeah,
Excalibur too, as the chat said. Yeah, that's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Cerebro sword, Excalibur. Yeah, those are all ones we haven't seen yet that are probably going to be important.
I know there was the X of Swords handbook that came out this week, and I briefly looked at it, and it's just like a primer, like just tells you like this is what this mutant is and all that sort of stuff. But I don't think it alluded to like which swords are which, like who's getting which sword.
Also, too, are all these like background information we're getting on all the other places in Otherworld, is that going to pay off, or is this just extra information Hickman wanted to put in there?
Again, it feels like a lot of the issues, like some of the stuff I don't really even read, because it's just like supplementary
material,
lore world building stuff that isn't really going to go into play.
Like I definitely checked it out in the first couple issues, and then I'm like, okay, the Hot Hive, is any of this going to be important? No, okay,
no.
Just checking. All right. I had basically 1 or 2 more, depending on how you cut it. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I had I had like 3 more.
All right. Did you read Detective Comics?
I did. We put the video out at the same time.
It's funny when we do that. Again, Matt and I don't like talk about that. Sometimes it just happens. Yeah, so this is like a special one-shot issue that kind of like bridges the gap between Joker War and the next big story that's going to be about Hush and Robin coming back to Gotham and everything else.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool. It was cool seeing Batman just do his detective stuff as he digs into these corrupt cops and this supposed spectral mounted police officer.
Yeah, this is very back to basics detective story, and I really appreciate it because it's like, hey, you can still do one and done detective stories, and again, it's very, very topical and very timely, and that it's basically, it's Batman versus a bunch of dirty cops who are seemingly being killed by a ghost, a maniac cop, if you will.
Yeah, he's kind of literally dressed like Maniac Cop a little bit.
Little bit there, only to find out that, this is part of a deeper, more complex conspiracy. What I was shocked by is, like, Bullock made a big deal in Joker War by throwing down his badge and saying he quit, but now he's just back.
Yeah, he's just, and it's not really even like Batman mentions it once that he's glad to see Bullock back, but like it's not mentioned why he's back. He's not being like pressured into it or anything or anything.
Yeah,
I maybe just don't know what to do. Just be like, we'll put him in there.
I get it. I was actually really looking forward to the Harvey Bullock as Private Eye again.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Because they've done it before, and now would be a perfect time for Harvey to be like, no, I'm quitting the GCPD in disgust because I'm tired of all the corruption and all the glad handing and everything else, and I'm going off on my own to, actually do, law and order and justice the way it's supposed to be. You know what I think the problem is? They're not ready to bring Jim back yet.
They're not ready to bring Jim back, and at the time, like, this book is like the middle of, like, death metal. We're getting Future State coming up. They probably didn't want to put someone new in.
No, they need that space. Also, too, it's funny, it's been like how long since the Infected story, and they're like, why is Jim still gone? Well, he was infected, but he's not in the Batgirl book now, but they can't think of a good reason to bring him back yet.
Yeah, I have people asking me like, well, where's Jim? And like, yeah, he got infected, and they just don't have, he's like recovering, but then he's in the Batgirl book and he seems fine.
Yeah, they just kind of forgot about it, much like they just forgot about the Infected story. Which is kind of messed up, because it's like, did Jim even do anything that bad when he was infected? That it's like, he shaved himself. No.
Not really. I guess like it was just him himself just deciding like, I gotta give it, because I was like aware of what I was doing, sort of thing.
Yeah, like he attacked Batman once, which again, looking back onto it, it's like, god damn, what a missed opportunity. You turned Jim Gordon into a villain and didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, again, maybe they were too scared or like had too many like, you can't do this, can't do this with him, sort of thing, because it's Jim Gordon.
Yeah, they clearly had too many pokers in the fire, which is the problem.
Yeah.
But, so this Detective Comics run, pretty cool. I won't spoil the ending for you, because that's like half the mystery, and the big stinger at the end, which is leading us into the next big story, is that a former cop, a hero cop, named Nakano, is going to be running for mayor, but he's running for mayor on a very, very strict anti-vigilante ticket.
And it's cool, because that guy was in the Joker Warzone special. You see him get wounded and why he's got the eye patch and whatnot.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the ending seems, it's like comes out at a really, really strange and convenient time, in that we've got the Future State stuff, which is apparently Gotham being ruled by a government that is strict on vigilantes and stuff, and now we've got this guy running for mayor who is strict on vigilantes.
Man, if they do actually connect that, I will give them a round of applause, because I'm like, these are two things that feel like they're related but might not be related, but if they end up being related, it's pretty good.
Yeah, just convenient timing is all.
Someone actually had an interesting pitch, too. They're like, hey, what if Nakano is Ghostmaker?
See, I could see that, but then, like, we got the mention that, like, they trained with other. Bruce and whatnot, so Bruce should be, like, mention him, like, be like, hey, I know that guy.
Then again, they are fighting Hush, and what's Hush's deal? He changes people's faces.
That's true.
If that actually does being the thing, again, I'll be like, this is pretty fucking cool, actually.
Yeah.
But, so this was just a good one-and-done story in a day and age when we don't get good done-in-ones anymore. What else did you have, Matt, if you just wanted to lightning round through them, as we are almost at an hour 30 already?
I had Rorschach issue 1.
Okay, see, I had this in my hand, and if there wasn't 3 X-Men books this week, I probably would have covered it, but I'm just like, no, Tom King, you ain't gonna trick me again, Tom King, I ain't going down this road. That being said, seriously, Tom King is actually very well suited to write Rorschach, a weirdo with a speech impediment who we're not actually supposed to like.
And yeah, it's great. Yeah, I enjoyed this issue. I'm hoping it doesn't fall into the Tom King isms in that, like me and Kurt talked about it and how
I heard
it
that,
took
yeah.
it was a good first issue, but we're hoping it doesn't like fall into like what his Strange Adventures book does, where he indulges himself a little bit too much and like his Batman run sort of stuff. But yeah, this the book opens with Rorschach just being gunned down at a presidential election. Very timely, very fucking timely. Gets gunned down by the president-elect's Secret Service agents. And this guy, we're never given a name to this detective, so it's kind of cool because then we can put ourselves in the shoes of this guy. This guy's hired by like the campaign to sort of look into it because it's not Rorschach, it's not Walter Kovacs because he died 30 years ago, because this takes place in 2020
in the present.
So it can't possibly be him, so that he ends up looking into it and he ends up finding it's this old guy. It's this guy who's like older than 80, yet he had like the strength and whatnot of like a 20-year-old. And we find out that this guy was a comic book writer.
Oh shit!
And he's very, very much influenced by like Steve Ditko and Alan Moore. He was like a recluse shut in after he made like his big, comic that got really popular and movies being made about it and whatnot.
Is he too a card-carrying objectivist like Steve Ditko?
A little bit, yes. Because
which actually that makes perfect sense too, because Ditko, invented the question, and the question is based on Rorschach.
Or the
other way around. Rorschach is the question.
The Rorschach had a partner as well, and they're investigating who this woman is and how they hooked up, because there's no like link between this woman and this old writer. And we find out that there's some weird thing. It gets really fucking meta because he was involved in like this weird occult thing where like him, Frank Miller, Otto Schmidt, who was the other guy? Some other sci-fi writer were trying to contact the dead. And they found like recordings on the body, and it doesn't make any sense to any of these people, and they're like, what the fuck is this guy's fucking a loon, like what the fuck is he dressing up as Rorschach doing, and what was he doing at this presidential election? They don't know why, but the guy keeps looking into it, and he ends up talking with like an old contact who collects like weird Watchmen stuff. And the guy ended up getting, before Sing Sing burnt down, he actually ended up getting a copy of Walter's fingerprints as like part of his collection. And the guy just happened, just like on a hunch, compared them to this old guy's, and they matched perfectly. So there's some fuckery happening.
All right, you've sold me on this one. All right.
And apparently this is in the continuity of the TV show, because they mention Oklahoma.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is really strange, because I don't consider the TV show canon. I consider like this to be canon to the Watchmen, because it's again a comic.
Yeah.
Much like how Doomsday Clock is a sequel to Watchmen because it's a comic. It's the same medium. But yeah, it's apparently like a sort of continuity, sort of in that continuity, apparently.
I still haven't watched the Watchmen show. I said it before. Some dickhead got really pushy with me on Twitter for not seeing. Like, okay, fine, fuck you. I'm never gonna watch it then.
Yeah, I watched it. It was all right. Like, it got much better as it went along. But yeah, I saw people, bullying people into seeing it.
That's what I heard, that like it ends much stronger than it starts. And it's like, well, that's good. And my thing too is I'm like, no, I'm not going to get invested in this if it's going to become a series. But then they're like, no, it might actually just be a 1-season wonder. I'm like, well, okay, then that actually makes me want to see it more, because you actually stuck to your creative guns. Yeah, Well, all right. Tell you what, Matt, you've done more to actually sell me on maybe reading this than than any of the promotion for this.
Again, it could. Well, in the promotions, again, that's weird. They kept calling fucking Rorschach a superhero.
Yeah.
Like, have you read? He's the furthest thing from. He's a god. I had a person in my comments like wondering why I kept, because I mentioned that like Rorschach is quite like an incel and he's quite homophobic,
the original incel,
and all that sort of stuff. And they're like, why is he's more like Batman? And I'm like, no. No,
I mean, he's all the worst stuff about Batman turned up 100 degrees. Like, you are not supposed to like Rorschach.
Not at all.
Basically nothing redeemable about him.
Not at all.
And again, which is the total commentary that Moore is going for on that one, where it's like, oh, if you dressed up like in a costume, people are gonna like it. Oh, and you keep proving them right.
Yeah, again, you're not meant. Again, King seems to understand that you're not meant to like Rorschach. Like, he has Rorschach murder a bunch of cops here and everything, and
which again, too, making Batman so unlikable, give him a character that's actually supposed to be unlikable.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued to see where this book goes. Again, as I said with Kurt, like, it could always just evolve into like what King's book does, and it's like self-indulgent tripe with him, referencing high school level poems and all that bullshit. But I'm intrigued.
Two whole dream issues.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what he does here. Hopefully, he sticks the landing.
Yeah, interesting. But I'll definitely have to check that one out because you've probably given me more to chew on than a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So was that it, or did you have one more?
Well, my last one was The Flash issue 763.
Right.
Which is the beginning of the new writer taking over, Kevin Shinnick.
Right, we don't know how long he's going to be on it, but he's going to be on it.
He's going to be on it for at least an arc, because this issue is like a filler issue that sets up the next arc, which he's going to be writing.
Right.
So this issue is all about Flash's Flash Ring. If the Flash Ring gets stolen, and it gets stolen by the Trickster, but it gets stolen on the anniversary of his mother's death. So Barry's not too pleased by that. But Trickster ends up stealing the ring, and Trickster owns an arcade now because he's realized that swindling people with overpriced video games pays more than crime does.
Oh, that's fun. It'll have to be a barcade too, because no one just opens a regular arcade anymore in this economy.
But yeah, he goes there, and he actually ends up a little bit. Who's that villain in Spencer's Spider-Man run that owns that like betting casino? Chance. A bit like that, because like it's not just a casino, it's not just a arcade. It's got like people betting on things, and the things they bet on are like Flash ends up saving what he finds out is just like a mannequin, but he thought it was a real woman, and people thought he wasn't going to save that, but he ended up saving it. And they bet on stuff like, does Flash's suit make him sweat, and just like all just random shit.
Good question.
And he's got the Flash's ring, and Trickster is under the impression that the Flash's ring is something that gives him his powers, or like it helps his powers in some way, because he studied the ring and realized that it's just not made of gold. There's like a special alloy in there.
Isn't there always?
And Flash ends up fighting Riddler, Toyman, who's it, Clue Master, and
all the gimmicky,
Prankster.
Gamiest ones.
Yeah, they all get involved in this, and he ends up trying to like figure out, because one of them has the ring, and he doesn't know which one, but Flash soon figures out that it's just a shell game, and none of them were real, because Trickster was able to implant a like virtual reality camera into his mask when they fought at the beginning, and made him see all these people that were just being controlled by people in the arcade playing video games.
Oh, well, that's a clever concept.
So Trickster's got the ring, and Flash like goads him into pressing the button on the side to like activate it. And Trickster does, and what Trickster doesn't realize is that like for the Flash, getting the suit on is nothing, but for a normal human being, the suit exits the ring with the force of 9 airbags. So it ends up knocking him out cold.
Oh, that's canon now, everybody.
Yeah, so Flash gets his ring back and throws Trickster back in the newly rebuilt Iron Heights, and we get a really cool thing at the end where Flash talks to Iris about the ring, because she's wondering like, well, why are you so obsessed with the ring? You could just like make another one. And he's like, I can't, because everyone thinks that the special alloy that I used to like ground myself in the Speed Force is what's important, but it's not. It's the actual gold, because the gold is forged from his mother and father's wedding ring.
Oh, I
and
guess,
every time he puts it on, it's him remembering why he puts it on, why he puts on the costume and the ring. And then we get a little bit of a tease for Dr. Alchemy, who's going to be the next big villain.
I guess they haven't used Dr. Alchemy in a bit.
No, I don't think Williamson used him at all in his entire 101 issue run.
Which has got to be something for the next writer, where it's like, okay, he touched everything in this previous run. You got to do something he hasn't done yet.
One thing I really enjoyed about this is that it felt like no writer changed. Like it just felt like more of the same, which isn't bad. It still sounded the same. It wasn't some like gross other characterization of a character or anything. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
It's a transitional issue.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, you like to hear that. Well, that's good. So I suppose with that we can start winding the show down. Some big announcements. Next Saturday, the 24th. I will actually be taking part in a fun Dungeons & Dragons stream at the Baltimore Comic-Con. I'll be getting to play Dungeons & Dragons with Jim Zub and a bunch of other really cool comic writers and people you probably know, so be sure to check that out. We're on after the Ringo Awards, I do believe.
Oh, no, that's a cool name for an award show.
I know, yeah. I'm putting that all together right now. I think they blocked us out 2 hours, so I think I'll be able to run them through a whole campaign. Big thanks to Sal from Comic Pop for recommending me for that one, because he knew I DM'd. Don't worry, we're still doing Capes and Quests on the Thursday, because that's also part of my big plan to get more eyes on my own D&D show and also promote the other one. Actually, we were supposed to talk to Christopher Cantwell too on the show, but that ended up falling through, so oops.
Yeah, that was the big one. I think we teased last week.
Yes, that was the thing we were supposed to do last week that ended up not happening. Oh well, we still might have him in the future. But yeah, anything else to talk about, Matt? Anything to promote?
Nah, I don't think so. Just keep an eye out on my channel for comic reviews. We've got some bigger ones coming out next week. Batman issue 101 stuff. Robin Prince, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Obviously, we got more of that X Sword stuff coming down the pipeline, so be sure to keep an eye open for that. And that's pretty much it. Oh, also, I forgot to update last week's episode over on SoundCloud. I will do that now, so you can get episode 209 on SoundCloud and iTunes and everything else. In fact, I should probably do that when I'm done here. So thank you, everyone, and thank you, the one fan who always asks me, like, hey, you going to upload the audio version? Oh, yeah, shit, I forgot. I get busy sometimes, man. I'm a one-person operation. This is why I need an assistant. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll be back again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.